Shalom Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to Lek out there doing this work of faith and live with love, true sincerity. Right, I want to get into a brief topic entitled Better is the End of a Thing, and just doing some, basic daily meditation, just realizing that, like looking at the book, looking at the things in which King Solomon wrote, as great as a man as he was, during his time, uh, having all the wisdom in the world, having all the riches in the world, being able to discern between good and evil, having kids and different things like that. And, you just realize everything within this world is vanity, man. You really get the understanding of what King Solomon felt, even though, us in this present time, we don't have all the riches and we don't have all the wisdom, but, of course, we're trying to obtain as much wisdom as possible. But it's just like you just really see, trying to put yourself within those shoes, because, of course, we're supposed to be thinking according to the old paths. So, trying to put myself within King Solomon's shoes and, dealing with the everyday people and, what I'm saying, you see the folly in them, what I'm saying, the madness in people's minds, and you get to see different spirits. You get to feel different spirits. You get the vibe of different spirits. And you truly see that all of this shit is vanity except for this work of faith and labor of love in which we show towards Yahweh Bashim Yahushua's name and towards the brotherhood, man. Everything within this world is nothing but vanity, man. Nothing. Nothing but vanity. The money, the woman, what I'm saying? Just everything within this world, man. Babylon gotta be destroyed, man. We supposed to be looking forward to much better things within the society, because you're gonna have moments when you're up, you're gonna have moments when you're down, you're gonna have moments when you got money in your pocket, you're gonna have moments when you broke. But regardless of what the situation is, we learn of Yahweh Shemi Shai to be content, but at the same time, on another note, we will never be content within the society, because we seeking that heavenly rest. We know to be content as far as waiting for that rest. But in general, this place, man, just, it's just nothing but frustration and aggravation. But let me get into these scriptures, man. Just Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. Because we know that we're all in the race. We entered the race. The race feels good. The race is sweet. The race is beautiful. We love it. We love this truth. We love laboring for the Lord. We love laboring for the brotherhood. We love going out doing the works. We love doing these side shows. It's all beautiful in the spirit, growing in the spirit. It's all beautiful, but you don't, amongst this race, as feeling good, what I'm saying, and stuff like that. You have your moments when you're not at your best, but it's going to be much, much more better to actually cross that finish line, man, to cross that yellow tape, that red tape, so to speak, man, because we don't want to be running in this race and, burn out. Well, you got a 100-yard dash. We don't want to burn out at 50 yards, man, at the 50-yard mark. This race is not a thing of who's going to be in first place or second place or third place. This is a race to where we just all want to cross that yellow tape, man, just to be able to get across that yellow tape. Think about it. If you're in a race, even if you didn't get first, second, or third place, but as long as you cross that tape and you look back and you see some other people that didn't even cross the finish line, you got, when you look at them, like, that's a disgrace. Like, you entered this race, you couldn't even finish it out. You couldn't even stick it out until the end. We don't want to be in that predicament, man. We just want to be able to cross that finish line, man. And that's something that Apostle Ramlab said in one of his recent lessons, that the elect shall make it by the skin of their teeth. I believe that's what he said, you know. So we'll just be happy just to get a toe across that finish line, man. We'd be happy just for that, man. Just to finish, man, you know? To really have that joy that we so desperately seek that we can't have within this present lifetime, man. Because we know that we have to suffer in order to inherit the kingdom, you know? So it says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Because the patient person, that's the man that's going to endure and cross that finish line, you know. But the proud person, you know, they're going to be the ones that burn out at the 50-yard mark because they didn't learn the necessary tools or to how to properly stride, you know, how to properly hold your arms, you know, how to properly breathe. They didn't learn the proper techniques, you know, to actually have that endurance to be able to make it to the 100-yard dash mark, to get across that finish line, man. You know, they were too hasty in spirit to do so, and that cost them in the end. We don't want to have that spirit, man. We want to finish this race. How about Shemiah Shah Ratazah, man? You know, we want to finish this race and finish it out strong, man. You know, going on to verse 9, it says, be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Because, you know, you'll have a person that'll be looking back, you know, at the times in which, you know, they were living, you know. Matter of fact, Jake, I have a comment saying, "Oh, remember back in the days," or you know, man, they even got that song, "Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore," and all of that. You know, you got Jake that'll be looking like, man, back then, you know, we used to have fun, man. We used to be doing this, we used to be doing that, you know. But that's not the type of spirit that the elect is going to be in. We don't want to be looking back, man. It's a curse to look back, man, and to be thinking upon them days like that was something much better. Hell no. We was in our ignorance, man. Okay, people say ignorance is bliss. Ignorance ain't bliss. Ignorance is death, man. Because if you ignorant, meaning not knowing, you don't stand a chance if you don't know anything, man. You know? So inquiring about the former days, that's not the type of spirit to be in. We want to continue to push forward and press toward that mark, man. Philippians 3 and 14, you know? But just knowing that every single day, you know what I'm saying, that we labor, we gotta work for Esau, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do for our family, making this little bit of ass shit money and just constantly going through the motions of the day-to-day life while trying to be in the spirit as much as possible, man. It's this life is vexation, man. The scriptures are our only true comfort to help us get through on a day-to-day. Everything else is like, you know, it's just another day, man. It's just another day, you know, just another day. And, you know, what I like is that, you know, King Solomon, I believe I mentioned it already, is that King Solomon, he realized this with everything in which he was going through, all the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that he had. And he realized that all of it is vanity, man. You know, everything underneath the sun, man, is vanity, you know. And this is Ecclesiastes 1 and 17, Slakia 1 and 12. I, the preacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to seek and to search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. Okay? So he took it within his mind. So he had to be really, King Solomon had was known as an analytical mind, man. King Solomon had an analytical mind. You know, he was truly circumspect. To have the amount of wisdom in which he had to truly be circumspect. He had to be the definition of what being circumspect is, you know, based upon his wisdom, his spiritual discernment, discerning good and evil, you know. So he had to been sitting there days after days and, you know, analyzing people, looking at this type of person, looking at this type of person, looking at this type of person, and just thinking about like, I want to know all things under the sun, you know. I want to see how far wisdom really goes. You know, that had to been his mindset in doing so, because you could come to a point within your life where you just realize, like, damn, is it anything else more to this, or don't everybody see what I see? Why don't everybody see what I see? You know. But it says, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail have Yahweh given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith. You know, so he said, what? This is a sore travail doing so, okay? I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Now, remember, King Solomon had all the wisdom in the world, all the riches in the world, everything. But he himself, wasn't just having the woman, with 700 wives, 300 concubines, all the riches in the world, all the wisdom. And he still realized that all is vanity, man. So Jake be out here wanting to buy the fancy cars and have all the fancy clothes, and nothing wrong with having nice things, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. But Jake want that so bad, but not realizing that all of that is vanity, man. It's the same routine day in and day out. The same wicked life that Jake is living day in and day out. And they content with being wicked, man. They feel as though that's their everything. Going to the club and buying drinks and hitting this girl and doing this and popping a molly and doing this. Everything within this world is man, this shit gotta go, man. This shit gotta go. I have seen all the works that are done. Man, Slakia. Airplane mode. Yeah, it says, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. Okay? I communed with mine own heart, saying, lo, I am come to great estate. Okay? All the riches, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. So he was in a good estate. There was no reason for him to feel down and out or depressed or anything like that, right? But it says, and I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness of folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow, because he wanted to see how far the rabbit hole actually went. And there is no end to it, man. Yahweh himself, he is the wisdom, he is the breath. There's no end unto Yahweh himself. So to actually search and seek out wisdom, you can't get to the depths of that, or the depths of folly. Wherever the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah set up, you're not going to be able to get the end to it, man. Esau tries to search the depths of the sea all the way down to the bottom. Why they can't get to it? Because Yahweh Bashim Shah set it up to where you're not going to be able to search out my sea. You're not going to be able to search out how many grains of sand is on the beach. You're not going to be able to search out the water droplets that's in all the water that's in the ocean, the amount of water that's in the ocean. You're not going to be able to search out the stars within my heaven, man, because I am he. You're not going to be able to search out all of my ways. The Lord set this up in a manner for us to know, that more so, and for also for Esau to know that you can't touch me, man. You can't touch me. But yet, as us being men of the Lord, we have to strive for that perfection, and that perfection is going to come through the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. But we don't want to seek too many things out that's too hard for us. But we want to be in a place exactly where Yahweh Bashim Yahushua wants us to be. And through constantly gaining knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, going through this life, we see how we're seeing more and how far the rabbit hole goes, just like with Neo, man. When Morpheus told me, oh, you take this pill And I'll show you how far the rabbit hole goes. So we're actually seeing that how far the rabbit hole goes, so to speak, day in and day out. The more time we labor within this truth, man, and the more vexation it brings into our spirit, the more we just look for the end of this thing, man. That's why I labeled this lesson "Better is the end of a thing than the beginning," you know, because the more we go in depth with this truth, the more suffering, the more hell we catch. We realizing that this whole world is vexation of spirit, and we want Yahweh Shem Yahushua to make their second return and to bring the end of this kingdom and this suffering as we know it, man. You know? Real quick, I want to go back to Ecclesiastes 7, you know, and yeah, this just going to validate more so the point in which I was meaning. And it says, Ecclesiastes 7:23, all this have I proved by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. He said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. Okay? That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it out? Just as I was saying, that Yahweh Shem Yahushua set up everything. So that which is exceeding deep, in which Yahweh Shem Yahushua set up, how can you find it all out? Solomon set his mind out to know the madness of folly, you know, the average guy on a day-to-day who just lives to party, or the madman that might be sitting on the corner, or the guys that may think that they have all the wisdom in the world. King Solomon searched out the different minds that's within the earth and the different states of human beings on the earth, and realized that you can't get to the depths of anything within this world, man. And it just caused his mind more grief, you know. But we are, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we're happy to take on this grief, because with on this grief, we're taking on the sufferings of Yahweh Shah himself, for him dying on the cross for us to give us that second chance, man, you know. But it says, I applied my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things. You know, why this happened, the cause and effects of if you do this, how this happens. So you try to search all these things out and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness, man. You know? So, hey, you know, just hey man, you know, we just look forward to be a part of this place, a part of this kingdom, you know, and to stay as diligent as possible. And, you know, this world is going to constantly vex us in spirit, you know, on a daily, you know, but we have to take the suffering on and this grief on, you know, with the form of dignity, man, you know, with the form of dignity. I don't want to say, you know, righteous pride, because, you know, there's no such thing as righteous pride. It's the word is dignity, man. We want to take this on with dignity, honor, and respect, you know, as us being men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and bearing our crosses as men, you know. So, you know, better is the end of a thing than the beginning. You know, Lord willing, you know what I'm saying? We all across that yellow tape, so to speak, man. You know, so with that, you know, I hope this segment was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to the elect out there doing this work of faith, labor of love, and true sincerity. Shalom.